Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I am once again broadcasting still at home. We have not left yet, but the time is winding down. So we have really not a lot of time left until we leave. And this was definitely one of those left it till the last minute and probably shouldn't have situations, but we're still making moves. So in just a few weeks, we are going to be officially living full time on the road. For those of y'all that are new here, we are preparing to become digital nomads. So the last handful of lives have been just our process in becoming digital nomads and the prep and everything we're doing to get ready. So if you are at all interested or you just want some more insight into either long-term travel, traveling in general, or maybe you also want to do digital nomad stuff yourself, then of course stay tuned. Today we are doing a Q&A, which I do love Q&As because as a nosy person myself, I have questions and I often want answers. So I love being able to do Q&As with you guys. I want to make sure that I have the comments pulled up so I don't miss those. Okay, so I have the comments pulled up. If you have any questions, anything you want answered, go ahead and drop them in the comments and I will make sure I get to those as well. But if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button and like this video and ring the bell icon because you don't want to miss our upcoming videos. I think that's all I have for the intro, so let's get started. Okay, so give me 2 seconds. Excellent. So the first is just sort of a recap of how the prep has been going. The first one would be, how is packing going? This is probably the question I get asked the most just in general life with my friends, and them asking me questions about what we're doing is, how do you plan on packing? And up until recently, it was, I have no idea. I have no idea how we're going to pack, but because time is really winding down, we knew that we needed to get started on it sooner rather than later, especially if we just didn't want to, when you go to the airport and you're driving to the airport, you're getting out of the car and you're like, I left something. I don't know what it is, but there's something that needs to be with me that's not in these bags. And so we're trying to avoid that feeling while also knowing that because we'll be gone for so long, inevitably even the stuff we pack, like toiletries, we'll run out of and have to buy more of. So we want to make sure we pack everything, but we don't want to stress out too much that we forget that we can just buy it. And that's why we're really trying to focus on the things that aren't so easy to go out and replace if we forget them. And the biggest hurdle really has been trying to figure out clothes. Right now, we are still pretty against check size bags, I should say. We don't mind checking our bags, but we just don't want to be weighed down by having a really large check size bag as well as a carry-on as well as a personal item. So we're doing our best to do carry-on size bags. And so far it's going well. So yesterday I recorded my how to do a capsule wardrobe video as well as me creating my capsule wardrobe. So those will be coming up. One's tomorrow and then one is next week. And by doing that, we have it like hanging up on a garment rack in our bathroom. We're really seeing how little clothes those are. Like it's not a lot of clothes on the rack. And you're like, yeah, I could probably wear this for 2 or 3 weeks. And then you get to a month. And then you get to 2 months, and then you get to 3 months, and you're like, okay, how long am I able to wear like this same white shirt? I know a lot of travelers are like, don't pack white, but that's the color I wear. And this is normally I love learning from other people's mistakes. I don't have to make them. This is one of those things where I'm gonna have to see for myself. I'm gonna have to and I'm sure I'll learn, but I love my white shirt. But it's like, how many times am I gonna be able to wear this white shirt before I'm like, I'm done. I'm tired of wearing it. So as far as the clothing, we're figuring that out, and definitely watch that video to see exactly what we pick. In that video, I didn't really go too into shoes, but for the shoes, it's really like, those are bulky, okay? We have to limit it. We're limiting them. I think we're both limiting them to 3 pairs of shoes. So I've been on the hunt for a while. I might have mentioned this in the last live I did. I've been on the hunt for a while for like my ultimate travel sandal, right? I was only going to bring one sandal, and I was like, what can I walk around in all day and it will be comfortable? And I didn't want to have the aesthetic of a hiker, but now I know why there's that hiker aesthetic, because their shoes are functional and comfortable, and it's not always about the looks. Sometimes you just got to wear what works. So the shoe that I settled on is a Birkenstock. My husband and I both got a pair of Birkenstocks. Mine are like pearl on the strap, so they're nice enough to be dressy if I need them to be. Like they're still Birkenstocks, but the Arizonas, the two straps. They're still Birkenstocks. You can't really get around that, but that's going to be my one sandal. And I have been breaking them in because you won't catch me out there with blisters. I'm literally wearing them right now. I've been wearing them around the house, but that is the travel sandal I'm going with. And then I have a pair of white sneakers, the Dr. Scholl's, I think they're called time off sneakers. And then my workout athletic shoes are my on cloud runners. And those are going to be both my running shoes and my weightlifting shoes. So that was that. So as far as packing, so far so good. The thing is we picked all the clothes. We haven't put them into bags. So that's the current issue, is they're not in any bags, but we have the stuff out, and I think that is a hurdle in and of itself. And I would love to know, what are some things that you can't travel without? Please drop them in the comments, because there's probably stuff I'm forgetting. And if you guys can help me remember, I'd be very appreciative of it. Like it's a lot to put in these two tiny bags, but I know we can do it. Then on to toiletries. The main thing is I see so many tips of people, put your makeup into contact lens cases, which is a great tip if you're traveling for like a week or so. Using the soft-sided like toiletry bottles, the ones that go flat. And those are all good tips if you know you're going to be coming home to refill the bottle. But our problem is we can use those small bottles and then in 2 weeks they're going to be empty and we have nothing to refill it. We buy a full-sized refill or a full-size bottle to refill it. And then it's either we take the full-size bottle or we throw it away or like leave it where we were at. And then that seems like a waste of money. So right now, I think we've resolved to just take our full-size bottles with us, put them in the carry-on size suitcase, but check that suitcase. When we go on trains, obviously they don't care about liquids. It's just when we go to airports that we're going to have to either check that bag or not have full-size bags with us. But as far as packing, that's pretty much where we're at. Let's see. Our pre-departure prep, I think it's like recently that we have really been getting a move on things. My husband stopped working a little bit ago, so he's pretty much in full travel mode, okay? He's got the list. He's the organized one. If you can't tell, he is the organized one of the two of us. But we recently got our international driver's license. I made a post about that over on the Patreon if you saw it. That'll make it so we're able to rent cars if necessary. I don't know if it's the same. Some places you need a different license to rent a scooter. I'm also not trying to be on a scooter, so I'm not super worried about that. But we've got, we made sure our passport has enough pages and that it's not going to expire anytime soon. International driving permit. We right now I think we're planning on using Safety Wing for health and travel insurance. Either we're planning on doing it or we're still deciding. I don't remember, but I think we're planning on using Safety Wing. A lot of digital nomads also use it, and I've heard good things. And since there's not really, you can't use like American healthcare abroad for most people, it's either a standard travel insurance, which I typically recommend for people because for the travel insurance, it covers your trip. But for a lot of the travel insurances that I work with, just as a travel agent, your trip has to be like less than 3 months or say, like at some point you have to come back to America in order for a new trip to start. So it doesn't work if you're just going to be abroad forever. What else? We are set up for the eSIMs. I think we're going to go with Olafly, and I'm going to make some videos about that. But Olafly is really the easiest eSIM to use, especially if you don't want to have to deal with data. So Olafly is if you watched my eSIM, I forgot where I talked. Oh, in my tools video, I talked about eSIMs. And Olafly is the one that is all unlimited. You just pay for how many days you want, and then you're good to go. And then as far as everything else, we're going to just try and scan everything onto a drive. I am weary of like bringing all of our important documents with us because that seems like a bad idea. I don't have any hard facts, but that seems like a thing we shouldn't be doing, So we're going to maybe scan like birth certificate, social security card, and all of that stuff, and then put it in an encrypted file. That way we have access to it. And then should we need it, I think the scan is enough to be able to go to like a US embassy and do what you need to do for those situations. So the rest of it will kind of be going as we're flowing because we've never done this before. And it also helps that through multiple times in the year, we'll be either friends are flying out, we'll be spending time with them, family will come out. And so like worst case scenario, can you put this in your bag and bring it to me? Because I need it. So pre-departure prep is working. Oh, you know what? That was only section 1 of pre-departure prep. There were 3 more things I wanted to chat about. So sorry, I'm not trying to cut y'all off. The second one was the financial setup. For those of y'all that were asking, if you need cash, Charles Schwab is the way to go. Charles Schwab will refund your ATM fees. So if you go to a foreign ATM, pull out some cash, and they're charging you like any ATM fees, it'll just refund you at the end of the statement. They'll put that back in your account. So that's the best way I've found to get the amount of cash you need quickly without having to do too much pre-planning. And you're not having to carry too much cash on hand. You can go to the ATM, pull the money out, and carry on. And then as far as things around here, we've started putting bills and everything on auto pay, just so we're not having to make sure on top of everything that that's something we're focusing on. And in case there are some type of issues using a VPN and logging into the account, we want bare minimum it to be covered and just to come out on its own. As far as VPNs, I am set up with ExpressVPN, so I can use banking apps, and I haven't tried it with streaming services. And I don't even know which shows I'm watching right now that I won't be able to watch. I'm just trying to get through them so I don't have to worry about that. But I'll let you know if I need to use a streaming service for my show, and then if it works or not. So I know in the past, Netflix and VPNs were not buddy-buddy. They were not best of friends. As far as tech, we've got universal adapters. We don't have a portable router. I've seen things about them. I know a lot of cruisers use them, but I haven't dug deep into that one. We've got our chargers. We ordered some more cables. The only thing I know I'm going to need is for my laptop, I have the standard MacBook cable. It's kind of fraying at the end, but you can get, there's like the little rectangle part in the front. You can get another one of those for the country you're in, like from Apple, and it just connects in. And I think I'm going to do that so I don't have to worry about using a power converter, because I just don't want to mess anything up. And I need my laptop to charge. And if I get somewhere and the power converter doesn't work, I don't know how hard it's going to be to actually be able to flip it. So anyway, as far as the tech goes, I think we're covered there. And then home base arrangements, we have our house sitter, we're trying to go through and figure out like what things they need access to. Because if you have a lot of technology in your house and you're having someone watch your house, they need to know how to use it. Okay. And I didn't think about that. I control our thermostat through the Nest app, and some of our lights are smart lights, and like how to control the sprinklers. There's so many things that I do from my phone, and I'm like, oh, I need to give someone access to this, so I'm not the only one that knows how to do it. So if you're planning on going on a trip where you need a house sitter, start making a list of the things you do now, and either you need to find someone else to do them, like as a service while you have a house sitter, or they need to know what their responsibilities will be taking care of the house. So I think that is all of the pre-departure prep. And next, I really just want to get into what I think life will be like as a digital nomad, because people will ask, what are you going to be doing all day? Aren't you going to get tired? And I think that we have a pretty solid plan for how it's going to work and how the day-to-day is going to look. So I guess I can tell y'all what the plan is, what the idea is, and then from there, maybe in like 3-6 months, maybe in a month, I can come back and let y'all know if I was even close to right. Okay, we could get out there. We could get out in this wide, wide world and realize this was not what we thought it was going to be. So the first is, you know what? Let me backtrack. If you're new here, I'm so sorry. I really dove in. But for an overview, digital nomading is where you are essentially doing long-term travel and working. So instead of saving up a bunch of money and going on a trip for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, you are taking the same trip, but you're working while you're doing it. You have some kind of remote job. Maybe you do contract work. Maybe you freelance and you sell products, but you are using the work you're doing to fund your trip as you go along versus just having it all saved up and then like slowly chipping away at that big pile, at that big budget. Okay, so for digital nomading, I'm expecting, because we'll be in Europe and the time zone in America will be, depending where we are, from 2 p.m. to midnight, or 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. is like working hours. So our standard daily plan is like, this is probably a more busy day. Wake up, do our exploring after breakfast. So like coffee, breakfast, done with breakfast by like 9 or 10. Maybe we have an activity. Maybe we have a museum we want to see. Maybe we want to walk around the city. Maybe I can hit Christian to ride a bike with me. I haven't ridden a bike. Actually, I rode a bike in one place. That was in Paris, and that was terrifying. So maybe we won't ride bikes. But that'll be from like 10 to 2, maybe 10 to 3, because work doesn't get busy until after that. So the morning will be our exploring time. From then, we will either go back to where we're staying or get our stuff and go to a coffee shop, go to a co-working space, and work from, let's say, 3 to work on like work stuff from maybe 3 to 6, 3 to 7. And then towards the end is where I pivot and start multitasking. Okay, so I'm doing partial work stuff and then partial YouTube and content creation stuff, because that's when like phones stop ringing. So that is what a weekday will be. And then from there, of course, weekends are weekends, and we can do whatever we need to on the weekends, as long as, because those days, I won't have the whole 8-hour work block. And then for Christian, that's during my work block is when he'll also be reviewing the travel plans. And then if we need to make further plans, depending on like, maybe we're here now and he's like, okay, let's make the plans for next month, then he'll start planning those things. And so that's how we plan on doing that. The main thing here, I'm sure you could guess it, reliable Wi-Fi. Traveling places that have reliable Wi-Fi is key. So if the place we're staying, it should have it because we've been checking, but if it doesn't have the most reliable Wi-Fi, then that is when we can pivot and go to a coffee shop, go to a restaurant, go to a public park, somewhere with Wi-Fi. That's important. So that is the like work-life balance part of it. And then the other part of it is a big part, is just finding where to stay and deciding where to stay. And I'm sure that's another thing people ask often is, the main question is, where are you going to stay? The smaller question is, oh, are you going to try and do like an Airbnb for a month? Are you strictly doing hotels? So right now, our plan is to stick with hotels. We like the reliability of like the chain hotels. You go to a Holiday Inn Express and you know what to expect at a Holiday Inn Express. With Airbnbs, it can be so varied, and then you have to be so diligent when you're looking at the listing, when you're looking at the reviews, that you can miss one little thing and it could make a huge difference. I actually just had a friend tell me that they did a handful of Airbnbs in Europe for one trip, like maybe 3 or 4 in one trip, and they were all Airbnbs that were shared with the host. So the host was like on site. It was more like a bed and breakfast than a here's your key and there's your apartment. And like that's something that just sometimes it's uncomfortable. It's like having roommates when you didn't plan on having roommates and you also didn't pick the roommates. So right now we're sticking with hotels. That is the plan. There are plenty over there that fall within that $50 to $75 range, which is the range that we're trying to stick in. But when we offset it with points and status and things like that, it makes it a lot cheaper, especially with IHG status. And then I think we have like Hilton status, and we're working on our Hyatt status. So with those, some of the hotels will offer like free breakfast, and then they might have some kind of happy hour that has food. So even if we're spending a little bit more for the hotel, if we get 2 free meals out of it, who's gonna argue? Not me. So that is for the booking accommodations. The Airbnbs could potentially be cheaper, but since they're both within budget, we decided to just go with what would make us the most comfortable. So I put out, I think that's all I have for the prep. And this next part is the actual Q&As. If you do have some Q's or some A's, you can leave them in the comments. But I put out on my Instagram story and on the Patreon a call for some questions. I want to know what you guys are really asking or what you want to know from people. And a lot of them came down to the same category. So I tried to categorize them. I think that's better. I think I muted it on accident. And I think I know when I did it. I think when when I turned to this question, it muted. So we're gonna back up real quick. I was talking about how did I decide what to pack, and the first one was versatility. I wanted everything to be able to match with everything I am packing. So if these shorts and then the button-up shirt I got do not match, do I really need them? Is there another option I could bring that's better? Am I okay that that shirt doesn't match with these one pair of shorts? I'm not sure. I'm kind of going through the first part because I'm not sure how much of that y'all cut out, but I think I got it. And then the second one was convenience. One, it needs to work for bare minimum all 4 seasons, which actually isn't the bare minimum. That's actually asking a lot, and that's okay. But for right now, we know that we'll be gone at least from now through winter. So the clothes I'm packing, I need to be able to go out in summer in them, but also layer them enough that if we're doing like Christmas markets in Europe and it's snowing, I don't lose my fingertips, because that also seems important. Although that's just a problem for gloves, but y'all get what I'm saying. So I'm looking at things I can put like thermals underneath. That was also a big part of what to pack. Is if I'm packing a bunch of like tight pants, then that's not really going to work for layering with leggings. So I can, my like flowy linen pants, my workout pants, my jeans, I can layer all of that flawlessly. So that was sort of how I chose to pack clothes. Shoes, the same thing. Activities is a big one too, for clothes and shoes. You need to pack for the activities you're going to do. Okay. I don't really plan on hiking. That's not my vibe. If you do plan on hiking, wear your hiking boots on the plane. I'm not saying leave them because they're bulky, but like bring them with you. I plan on getting in some water, and my water shoes are in that bag. You best believe it. They won't catch me slipping on European rock beaches. Because I've heard some things, although I love rock beaches, but I do have my water shoes. So that was sort of how we picked. For toiletries, I mentioned before, we're bringing the full size, but also for me, a big part of that was my hair. As much as I would love to be able to use hotel shampoo and conditioner, and if you can, let me know, because I've talked to people with many different hair types, and I have not heard one person say good things about, not one person in person say good things about hotel shampoo and conditioner, but on like Reddit, everyone says the hotel shampoo and conditioner is fine. My hair feels so soft. Are you a bot? Are you gaslighting? Like, I haven't heard anyone say good things, and I know that it can happen, but it doesn't work for me. So my hair was a big part of how I decided to pack, because either I'm able to bring my stuff and then when it runs out, I'm able to buy it, or I go bald. There's other options, but like that felt like what the options were. So how did you decide what to pack was a big one that people were asking a lot. And it also will depend on your preference and if you mind carrying big bags. Honestly, if we were carrying even one checked bag, I don't think it would be as hard of a time as we're having. I also think that it feels hard because we've never been limited to this amount of clothes. We both have our own closets filled with our own stuff. And so we've never had, okay, here's 6 shirts and that's what you're going to wear for the next 12 months. Have fun. Have at it. So that's sort of what we've been weighing again. But anyway, on to the next one. Is how do you handle finances? And honestly, and I know I can shout her out now because the friend that put me on to You Need a Budget is also the one that told me the audio wasn't working. So shout out to you. But we use YNAB, You Need a Budget. The link is in the description because I quite literally have been using it since 2020. I love it. I talked about it in my tools video. I will talk about it forever. You cannot stop me. YNAB is, even here, it essentially links to all your bank accounts and it imports all your transactions. So for digital nomading, that is how we're able to see easily and quickly what we're spending and how much we're spending on each category, okay? I hope you're following. So that is like the big overview of this is what we spend on accommodations and on flights and on transportation and on food. And then on the other side, travel spend is a different app that you have on your phone that can connect to your Apple Pay, and then you can also import transactions manually. But that is how you can see how much you're spending day to day. So let's say in a month we know we want to spend, or we have a budget to spend like this much on accommodations and this much on food and this much on groceries. That works for the month. But let's say regardless of what that is, day to day, our budget is $70. No, because that's our lodging budget. I don't know, $150. I'm making numbers up. It doesn't matter. Go with me here. Let's say day to day, the budget is $150. On travel spend, as you make your transactions, it'll take away from that daily budget. It doesn't matter the category, although you can put it in there. It will say, you wanted to spend $150. Your lodging today was $60, so we're going to take that out now. Man, I wish I could do math faster than this. 150 minus 60, someone's got it. Your lodging was that. We're going to remove that. Here's what you have left. And then as you buy gelato over there and a coffee over here and tickets to the museum, it'll take away from your daily budget. So regardless of the category, you know this is what you have left. And even if it doesn't match the breakdown that we would like, we still know we can't spend more money than we have. That's the end of it. So YNAB is great for record keeping and for the big monthly budgets, and then travel spend is great for making sure you stay where you need to stay day to day. I hope that made sense. I think it made sense. I think y'all are getting at what I'm putting down, so that's fine. The second thing is to set up auto pay for your billing. You don't have to, but I'm just thinking, how distracted are you going to be watching the changing of the guards at Buckingham Palace and also thinking, I hope I paid my light bill, or I hope I paid for like my car if you still have a car payment when you left. There's just, why have the stress, okay? Auto pay and carry on with your days. I talked about Charles Schwab to make sure you're able to get your cash. And then if your budget is under some months, you can also start using that to build up a little savings, okay? I've said this before, but it is cheaper to live in many of these countries than it is to live in America. So you may be spending less than you would spend here. Take advantage of it. Put it in a savings, build a savings account. And then when you have that, invest it, use the time. And then you might want to have, if you're staying in one country or in one region, let's say that you're staying in Europe and every place is using the euro, then you may want to have a little nest egg that's also in euros, just for safety. Some people like to be more secure than others. I don't mind winging it sometimes, but I know some of my people out there don't like to wing it, and that's okay. And then for cards, it's just using a credit card that does not have forward transaction fees. And if you're a points and miles person, then you can also use that card on your travel, earn points and miles, and then use the points and miles to live on. And that's one of the best parts, okay? In America, you know what? I take that back. Bill, you can pay your rent and get points. But besides that, like, you can't pay your mortgage and get points. For some places, you can't pay your rent and get points. But if you're paying your rent amount for Airbnb and you're using a credit card and booking Airbnb, all of a sudden you're getting 3x points on like $2,000, and that's your lodging. And now you've got, I can do that math, 6,000 points, which I know from experience is a one-way flight from Dallas to New York on American Airlines. So that is another big perk, is you're making these transactions and you're using these cards, earning these points, and then you're using the points to live on. I'm not saying it's a flawless system. I'm just saying it's a system that works. So I think that is for the most part the finances. I know I made like 1 or 2 credit card type videos on this channel. If you want to see more, let me know. Sometimes I'm back and forth on if I should do it or not. But anyway, on to the next one. A day in the life. And you know what? I think I already went into this, so I'm not gonna redo the entire day in the life because y'all got it from the first 10 minutes. But the main thing is, instead of just doing, you heard of what a standard kind of busy exploring working day is, but the other part of it is there needs to be days where you're not doing that much. If you're going out every day, walking 18,000 steps, coming back and working, going to sleep, waking up and do it again, burnout is calling your name. Burnout's around the corner and she's looking for you, and I'm worried. Don't let that happen, okay? There need to be days where maybe it's a laundry day. Maybe you wake up, clean some clothes, and then watch TV, and then work from the couch on your computer, because don't forget we're working. That wasn't an option. You signed up for this. So you need to have the relaxing days to offset the busy days, because there will be days like we're going to Oktoberfest in Germany. That's a lot. That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of time. We can't do that back to back, have a travel day in the beginning, have a travel day in the end, and then go into more active days after that and have time to even think. So that is where the big balance goes in, is not only are we going to have the standard wake up, activity, work, go to bed, but we're also going to have the wake up, watch TV, go to bed type days. There might be a wake up, go to the beach, read type days. But you need to have a balance of both, because I might sign up for a race. There could also be wake up, 10K, go to bed. Okay. The point is to have the same type of versatile life that you do back home. Just do it on the road. Okay. Yeah, I really got off order now. I went in on that one earlier, so I'm glad we got it covered though. Okay, biggest concerns and excitements. The concerns was a strong word. I didn't know what word to use, but I think you get the point, okay? But I'm going to start with those and then go to the excitements. There's a handful of things. Some I have mentioned already. The first one I wrote down is literally not being able to find the toiletries to refill the ones I brought. So I'm sure you can tell that's really on my mind right now. I think once I get over there and I see what they have, and I find my groove, I'll be fine. But that is a concern. If you're someone that uses really specific toiletries, then yeah, that may be something you need to think about, pre-plan about. If you can use anything though, go over and see what your heart desires. Pick what you want. The second thing is not having enough time to explore, or spending so much time in a city that we get bored. And bored is also a strong word, but that's the word we have. So in the beginning part of this trip, we're moving fairly quickly. It's very fast travel. Like, I don't think we're really spending more. For most cities, it's like 5 days. For some, maybe 7 to 10. I feel like the 7 to 10 is a good range, but it also depends on, are those 7 to 10 days like one weekend and a full weekday, or does it have more holiday weekend days? Because if it's a lot of working days, that's not a lot of time to explore. So I don't want to go to a city, especially one that I've been looking forward to. Like, let's say we go to Venice, and I forgot how long we're going to be there, but we go to Venice and maybe we're there for 4 days, and all 4 of those days are weekdays. And then all of a sudden I've left and I'm like, I didn't get to explore anything. I came all the way to the city and didn't get to see anything. So that is a concern. And it's just something that I would need to plan for, make sure that I have the list of things I want to do, see how long we're there, and balance it well. And on the flip side, if we're in a city for like 2 weeks or a month or however long, because I feel like a lot of the cities we're in for that long are some of the places where we don't have such a long list of things we want to do, so they're a little bit cheaper to be there. Make sure I spread out the activities. Don't jam pack them into the first 3 days and then we have like nothing to do the rest of the month. Have maybe 2 this week, 2 the next week, like 1 on this day, and spread them out so there's always something to look forward to. In this trip and in life, I like to always have something to look forward to. So if I do everything the first 3 days and then all I have is 10 more days of just sitting here and working until we get on a flight, that's not going to work for me. I'm going to find another activity, and it's always going to be fun. So maybe instead of concerns, just be things I'm focused on, but whatever. The third one is missing my hobbies. That's a big one. Oh, And Amanda says she's been wondering what selection I'll have access to for my natural hair. Looking forward to seeing what options I find. I will say I've been searching. I'm like on the UK version of websites. And right now I'm using Pattern. I forgot which celebrity made Pattern, but I'm using Pattern. And I found a few lines that I like that are over there, but it's like, what's the big store? I'm going to have to get some sample sizes like the week one. That way I'm not scrambling, not to go backwards, but I am going to go backwards for a second. My plan is to get a bunch of samples like right when I get there so that while I'm using up my products, I can still test out other things. Like use my product one wash day and the next day try out the sample. That way it's not like I'm out of my stuff. What do I get? And I get a full bottle of something that doesn't work for me. By then I want to know what I like. So that was the caveat to figuring out what options I find. If you see me pop up in braids, you know why. You know exactly what happened and why that was the solution. But that's not the direction I'm trying to go, but I know that the option's out there. So back to my hobbies. I got really into pickleball, as I'm sure the rest of the country did recently. And it's not as big in Europe as I need it to be. And so I went from playing pickleball sometimes 2 times a day to I'm not even bringing my paddle with me because I don't have space for that. And I feel like I'm going to miss it. And I also got into a book club in Dallas and I loved that book club. And I am very sad to be leaving that book club. And I was like, maybe I can hop in on book clubs when I travel. What are the odds they're going to be speaking English? And that's not like that's not their fault. That's my fault. So if it's a book that I've read in English, do I just go and like hang out for the companionship? And just kind of, because I mean, when it's a book you've read, you know what they're talking about, even if it's not in your language. And just kind of pick what I've got. Those are the 2 big hobbies. I'm a big crafter, and I can't bring, like all of my drawers are full of craft supplies. I like to refinish furniture, and I can't like bring a nightstand with me. So I feel like I'm gonna miss those hobbies, but I'm hoping that I have enough exploring and culture observing that I don't think about it too much. And then the last quote concern is becoming numb to the excitement of travel. And I've seen people talk about this. However, they've been traveling for like 5+ years. So I don't think that's a concern early on, but I don't want to get to the point where it all seems like this is a normal thing we're doing. Because I know that digital nomading and living abroad like this isn't the most normal way to live, and I don't want it to feel like mundane, and I don't want it to feel like that. So those are the concerns. Now let's get to the excitements, because that's really the majority of it. The concerns, while they exist, they're small. They're just in the back of my mind, but the excitements are front and center. And the first one is meeting new people that have had like different life experiences. So when you meet other people in your area, especially now, like I have a lot of friends that are neighbors. We all live in the same neighborhood. We all had the same, like we all do the same things. We live near the same stuff. So the things we talk about, we all have in common. Whereas when I travel and I meet new people, they're out here doing some wildly different stuff. I hear so many crazy stories that I would have never imagined. And I love getting to interact with people like that and sort of hear what they have to say and hear their wisdom and their advice and then share mine with them and just the nice back and forth. So that's a good one. The second one, spontaneous discoveries. So far, I think my best spontaneous discovery has been when I went with a group from Meetup. If anyone uses like meetups.com, it was a young adults meetup in Hawaii. And it was like a happy hour. So that was the event. And then some of them were like, hey, we're going to go on this hike tomorrow. You want to come? We'll pick you up. I said, that sounds totally safe. Of course I'll come with you. Pick me up in their car. We drive out to some mountain. We're in Hawaii. There's plenty. We're walking up the mountain. They're like, hey, instead of going up the path, there's like a really nice beach area, like over this cliff. You just got to climb down it. I was like, of course I'm going to do that. Why would I not do that? And I wish I could find those pictures. I didn't even think I'd be telling the story, but it was one of the best adventures of just exploring there were people around, okay? I wasn't insane. People were taking this path, so I took it too. But those are the types of discoveries and stories that I hope I'll be able to collect while on this trip. The third one, creative inspiration. Y'all know I'm a crafter, so I'm hoping that I can collect these little nuggets of wisdom and then bring them home to my either bring them home to my crafting or just bring them to my video making and my YouTubing and social media and be able to just broaden my horizons that way. The last two, I guess, are kind of similar. It's experiencing other cultures, which also goes into living a less sedentary life. I don't feel like I'm super just sitting down all day long, but you can't walk to anything from where I live, like in a reasonable amount of time. This isn't a walkable, I'm in the burbs. This isn't a walkable town. So I'm excited to be able to, get up from my hotel or my Airbnb and walk to the corner store and then walk to breakfast and maybe walk to the park and hang out and not have to rely on cars all the time. Because obviously we won't have one. We really don't plan on renting a car all that much. We have no immediate plans to rent a car. And other cultures, they just have, I can't say they have more community because I don't know if that's true, but they are forced to be out and about and around each other more often. So I'm curious to see what that's like, as well as I've heard that the food is different. I've heard it's made with different things. It makes your body feel better. I guess I hope that's true. I mean, I don't know why I would hope it's not true. I hope they have good food. That is a big part of what we're doing over there is eating. But if you have ever felt any of these nerves or excitements, or if you have your own, please let me know. And I thought I would call out one last comment I got on YouTube, or I guess I should say question. One person left this one, to which I have to say yes. For everyone that's like, how can you leave your friends? I said, simple. They're forced to answer my calls and FaceTime me all the time. They don't know this yet, but I will hack your phones and put my face in it. So we're sad to be leaving, but we also know that with modern technology, we can stay in touch. And that's a good part. Also, it's not like the 1800s, and in order to get back, I have to hop on a ship for a month. Like, we can fly home. And it's nice to know we have that option of, if it is just not working, off we go. And it just feels less like you're trapped. So we are going to miss our friends, and we are sad to leave them. We also keep telling everyone to come visit us. So that's helping. I'm hoping we're just planting little seeds of vacation in their minds, and then I'm like, literally wherever. You tell me where you want to go and we'll meet you there. So I think that is all of the questions I have. If there were any others, or if you're watching this on the replay and you want to put it in the comments, please do. I will be reading the comments. I will be responding to them. I wanted to give a big thank you to all of our patrons that are over on the Patreon. I posted that announcement video about a little bit ago. I think there may still be some more free trial memberships up for grabs if you want to try it. I want to thank the patrons that have been over there. I am so excited about this Patreon. Like, I was talking to my husband today about how much I love making content to put over there, because it feels different than putting it just on the internet. Like right now, I don't look at the number because no, but like anyone could be watching this. This is not a private space, whereas the Patreon feels more like a private space. So that's really where I can share the highs and lows and where we're at and things like that. So I wanted to thank everyone that is over on the Patreon for supporting the channel and hanging out with me, because y'all are the best. Thank you so much for watching this live, whether you are watching it live and you are hanging out with me on this Thursday night, or if you're watching the replay, thank you so much. If there's anything in this video that you think will help your friends, send it to them. Because if there's one thing your friends want, is to see my face. Don't question me, I know I'm right. Hit the subscribe button and ring the bell icon, because you also don't want to miss videos. Once again, I know I'm right. It's okay. We get used to it sometime. But I think that is it for today. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.